Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Laura and I am the illustrator and creator behind Laura Jane Illustrations on Instagram, where I aim to create content that helps you feel good about you. Today we're going to be diving into that concept of helping you feel good about you, and I'm going to be sharing one strategy that I use to support myself in being more kind to my mind. From a point of transparency, I am not a mental health professional, but if you do feel that you need professional support, I have left lots of links down in the description box. So today we're going to be diving into negative self-talk. This is something that we all fall into from time to time. It's definitely something that I'm very guilty of. As someone who struggles with anxiety, it's very easy for me to get caught on a negative spiral and a negative internal dialogue. One strategy that I use to help navigate my own mind when I go on these negative spirals is journaling. So I'm going to talk you through how I use journaling, different ways that you can use journaling, and share some tips with you to help you get started. So let's dive in. So to start off, let's think about what type of journal is best for journaling for mental well-being. So the first thing that I would say to you is less is more. Don't go for a journal that has super fussy pages or decorations everywhere. You want this to be your space, and so you want it to be distraction free. I personally prefer a bullet journal because it means that I do have some guides and structure if I want to write in sentences, but it's not so structured even compared to a line page where if I kind of want to draw out my feelings, I have that option too. So another thing that I would say to you when it comes to choosing a journal for journaling is don't get one that's dated. Aim for an undated journal because you don't want this to become like a chore. This isn't something that you might need to do every day. This is something that you want to be able to do when you feel like doing it. Also, the other downside to using a dated journal is that you're limiting yourself to one page for journal entry. And sometimes you might need 5 or 6 pages, and sometimes you might only need half of a page. So you want to make sure that the space isn't too structured for you. This needs to be literally a paper version of what's going on in your mind. And if there's too much barriers there, it's not really going to allow you to dive in fully. That's kind of in terms of buying a physical journal, but that's not your only option. If you don't really want to get a physical journal, if you're not really like someone who likes writing or drawing, another great alternative is the notes on your phone, because it has everything that you need. It's unstructured, it's undated, it has an option for writing, but you can also draw directly into the notes on your phone. So don't feel that you have to be tied into a diary style journal. Find something that works for you, choose something that you know that you're going to come back to, and make it easily accessible so that when you feel you need to kind of explore the thoughts in your mind, or you feel yourself going on your negative spiral, your journal is easy to access. Be that because it's a small notepad and it's in your bag, or be that because it's the notes on your phone, or be that because you use scraps of paper so you can just grab one anywhere. Another thing to think about is not making it perfect. Let go of a need for this to be perfect, structured, or set out in a different way. If you really want it to help you, then you really need to let go of this idea that it needs to be a certain way or look a certain way. So it doesn't matter if your handwriting isn't perfect. It doesn't matter if your sentences aren't grammatical. It doesn't matter if you make spelling mistakes. This task needs to give you value. This practice needs to give something back to you, or it's not worth your while. And if you're kind of hung up on writing as opposed to journaling, then you're going to lose out on the value. So let's dive into some ways that you can journal. So the first way that you can use your journal is brainstorming. Brainstorming or mind mapping is a great way to pull things out of your head without thinking about them too much. So for me, I either put a feeling at the center of my mind map and then kind of from each of my arrows, write different things that are connecting to that feeling, or I start with an event, something that's happened, and I pull off all of the different feelings from that. This is a really great way to start if you don't know where to start. Putting a circle at the center of your page and just pulling off lots of ideas from it. You might find that one of those really jumps out at you and that you might want to write a little bit more about it. And this is usually what I tend to do. So the next way that I use my journal is just a stream of consciousness. So sometimes after my mind map, one of the words or the events or actions on that mind map will really jump out at me, and I'll feel that I want to write about it a little bit more. I try to write in a stream of consciousness, which means I literally write what I'm thinking rather than thinking about what I want to write. The reason that I like doing this to help me with a negative mindset is I don't try to filter what I'm writing. So sometimes my writing will be angry because I'm feeling angry. I'm not trying to write positive. That's not going to help me come through what's making me think in this negative spiral. So it's like this action of cleansing yourself, taking these thoughts that are in your head and putting them onto the page in a physical way, bringing them into the physical world so you can kind of step back and almost see your own thoughts from another perspective. Sometimes when I am finished, I like to read it back, and I think if someone said this to me, or if I was reading this from someone else, what advice would I give this person, or what questions might I ask this person? Sometimes when I read it back, I think, well, that's absolute nonsense. I'm worrying about nothing. But it's that process of getting it out of my head that helps me realize that I'm getting worried about something that's out of my control, or maybe it makes me realize that there is a clear solution here. Maybe unstructured and unorganized processes like brainstorming and stream of consciousness might not be for you yet, because you need to build up a little bit of practice of connecting with yourself in this way through paper. And so prompts are a great way to get started. So prompts can be like a set of questions. There are lots of places that you can find journaling prompts online, but basically there are questions. So you write a question down in your journal and you answer the question. So some journaling prompts that might help you are, how are you feeling today? What happened before I started to feel this way? What could I do to help myself return to calm? What can I do next to support how I'm feeling now? What's the best that could come from this situation? What's the best that could happen? And what can I learn from this or from today that will help me grow? Those are questions that I commonly explore with myself in my journal. But another way that I use questions or prompts in my journal is maybe starting with one like, how am I feeling today? And writing a little bit about it, reading it back, and then again returning to that kind of outside perspective. If someone said this to me, what would be the next question that I would ask them? And then I write that question down and answer it myself. So questions and prompts can also be a tool to help you kind of have a conversation with yourself, because as we all know, when we go on these negative spirals, often what we're spiraling about and how we're thinking is not rational. And often there are very clear solutions, but we can't see them. When I'm journaling, I like to think of next steps, because I think that it's also kind of like a form of problem solving. So I'm in this negative spiral now. What can I do next so that I'm not stuck in this feeling? Because if I'm just journaling to kind of further dive into this negative spiral, then I'm not actually supporting myself in moving through it. The next thing I need to do in order to help myself move past how I'm feeling right now and return to a place of calm is to give myself a possible solution, or maybe a set of possible solutions that I can explore. So whether you've done a brainstorm, a stream of consciousness, or you've used questions, read them back and think to yourself, what can I do next? When I close my journal, what am I going to do? Remember, a next step doesn't have to be an action for a success plan. It has just to be something that I could try. So I'm not saying that this is what I have to do now and that it has to be successful, but rather here is a set of things that I could try to see if that would help me feel better. Another thing to consider as a next step is asking for help. Sometimes journaling is a great way to realize that you can't handle this on your own, and that's okay. So one of your next steps might be that you need to speak to a real person about what's going on in your mind. That might be someone in your life that you can trust, or it might be that you need to maybe seek out a professional that can really help you dive into these thoughts, especially if they're reoccurring and it's a consistent thing that you really feel that you are kind of buried under the weight of this negative thought. And as I said at the start of this video, I'm going to leave some links in the description box on where you can find some more information and some professional help if you really are struggling with your mindset or your mental well-being at the moment. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're enjoying what I'm sharing here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and turn on that little notification bell so that you get reminders when new videos go up on my channel. I am excited to share more with you in this Be Kind to Your Mind series. And if there's anything in particular that you'd like me to talk about or share my experience with, then just let me know in the comments below. Leave your suggestions or ask your questions, and I'll see if I can come up with a video to help you through what you're going through. And that's all from me today. I will see you again really soon.